Found out I have 6 months to live and my husband is selling my cancer pain meds behind my back for pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe 8, with aggressive treatment, Dr. Wallace's words echoed in the sterile exam room as I sat frozen, my hands gripping the paper covering the exam table. At 38, I wasn't supposed to be discussing hospice options and advanced directives. Are you absolutely certain? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. I wish I were, Taz aged. His kind eyes held mine. We can start treatment immediately, but I want to be honest about the prognosis. I nodded mechanically, thoughts racing to my 16-year-old daughter Sophia, who would check her homework, who would hold her when her first boyfriend inevitably broke her heart, who would help her pick a prom dress. I need to tell my husband, I finally managed as I left the clinic clutching a folder full of pamphlets about pancreatic cancer treatment options. My phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. Don't forget to pick up my dry cleaning. And did you get more of those pain pills? My back is killing me. A hot flush of anger rose in my chest. His back pain, the same excruciating back pain that never stopped him from golfing every weekend but somehow prevented him from attending Sophia's orchestra recitals. I drove home in a daze trying to formulate how to tell my husband and daughter that our remaining time together would be measured in months, not years. When I pulled into our driveway, Daniel's B&Do was already there. Unusual for a Tuesday afternoon inside, I found him rifling through our bedroom dresser drawers. He barely acknowledged me as I entered. Hey, have you seen my... He stopped mid-sentence when he saw my face. What happened? Did you get a parking ticket or something? I placed the folder on the bed. I have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Daniel froze, his expression shifting from confusion to shock. What? That can't be right. You are young. It's already spread to my liver, I said flatly. Dr. Wallace gave me 6 to 8 months. Daniel sat heavily on the edge of the bed, running his hands through his carefully styled hair. This is going to ruin everything. Excuse me. The Maldives trip this spring, the Richardson's Lake House in June, my promotion party. He looked up suddenly, registering my stunned expression. And us, of course. This is terrible for us. I stared at him, truly seeing him for perhaps the first time in our 18 years of marriage. Before I could respond, his phone chimed. He glanced at it, then stood up. Listen, I have a work call I need to take. We'll talk about this later, okay? By the way, did you refill my prescription? Your prescription, I echoed. The pain medication for my back? I walked to my purse, pulled out the small pharmacy bag, and handed it to him. He opened it immediately, counting the pills with a quick practiced movement. Great. I'll be in my office. Don't tell Sophia yet. She has that test tomorrow and needs to focus. As he walked out, I noticed something odd on his phone screen. A text message from someone named Ray. Got buyers her 20 oxy. Sand prices last time I sank onto the bed. The realization hitting me with the force of a physical blow. The frequent refills. The missing pills. The cash withdrawals from our joint account that Daniel always explained away as client dinners or golf expenses. My husband was selling my pain medication, and in that moment, as the setting sun cast long shadows across our bedroom, I understood with perfect clarity that I couldn't trust the man I'd married to care for me during my final months or for our daughter after I was gone. The cancer center waiting room was crowded with people in various stages of treatment. Some were alone, staring blankly at outdated magazines. Others had companions who held their hands or quietly read books beside them. I sat by myself, Daniel having claimed he couldn't miss an important client meeting. 3 weeks had passed since my diagnosis. The initial shock had given way to a strange, detached practicality. I'd made a will, organized my financial documents, and started recording video messages for Sophia's future milestones: her high school graduation, college acceptance, wedding day. What I hadn't done was confront Daniel about the pain medication. Instead, I'd been watching, documenting, gathering information like a detective building a case. The frequent texts from Ray. The cash deposits at the A-team. The way my medication seemed to disappear faster than I was taking it. Maya Collins. A nurse called my name, pulling me from my thoughts. I followed her through a maze of corridors to a treatment room where Dr. Wallace was reviewing my chart. How are you holding up? He asked as I settled into the chair. I'm making arrangements, I replied, the words carefully neutral. He nodded, understanding the unspoken meaning, and a pain. Is the medication helping? I hesitated. I seemed to run out quickly. Something in my tone must have alerted him. He looked up from the chart, studying my face. Are you taking it as prescribed? Yes, but some pills seem to disappear. Dr. Wallace's expression shifted subtly. He'd been in oncology long enough to recognize what I was implying. I see, we should discuss changing how we manage your prescriptions after finalizing the treatment plan. Aggressive chemotherapy that would buy me time, but not a cure. I stopped at the hospital Quasaria. As I waited in line for coffee, a familiar voice called my name. Mia, is that you? I turned to find Ethan Reeves standing behind me, wearing a white coat with Department of Oncology Research embroidered on the pocket. Ethan, my college boyfriend, who'd wanted to marry me before I'd chosen Daniel instead. Ethan, I managed, suddenly conscious of my thinning hair and the dark circles under my eyes. You work here. I run the experimental therapeutics program. His warm brown eyes assessed me with professional concern. Are you stage 4 pancreatic? The words came easier now practiced. His face fell. I am so sorry, Tazesh. We found a quiet corner table, and I explained my situation, the diagnosis, the prognosis, the treatment plan. I carefully omitted anything about Daniel. What about that husband of yours? How's he handling it? Ethan asked, as if reading my thoughts. Daniel is being Daniel. I stirred my coffee unnecessarily. Ethan nodded, understanding more than I'd explicitly said. Listen, Dee, here is a clinical trial we're starting next month. It's a new immunotherapy protocol specifically for advanced pancreatic cancer. The preliminary results are promising. Dr. Wallace says standard treatment is my best option. Tom's a good doctor, but he's conservative. This trial could potentially extend your timeline significantly, maybe give you years instead of months. I can't promise anything, but you'd be a good candidate. For the first time since my diagnosis, I felt a flicker of hope. Not for a cure. I was too pragmatic for that. But for more time, more bedtime talks with Sophia, more chances to prepare her for a life without me. I'll think about it, I promised. As we exchanged contact information, Ethan hesitated. How is your daughter handling all this? She doesn't know yet. Daniel thinks we should wait. Ethan frowned. In my experience, kids handle these things better when they have time to process. Waiting only robs them of precious moments. His words stayed with me as I drove home, where I found Sophia in the kitchen making a sandwich. At 16, she was already taller than me, with Daniel's dark hair but my eyes. She wore her school orchestra shirt, a reminder of the passion for music that defined her. Hey Mom, how was your doctor's appointment? I put down my purse suddenly, determined to sit down. Honey, here's something I need to tell you. Her face immediately fell. Sandwich forgotten. Is it bad? It's not good. I have pancreatic cancer. It's advanced. Her eyes filled with tears. Are you going to die? The directness of teenage questions. No cushioning, no euphemisms. Yes, sweetheart, probably within a year, but I am going to try an experiment experimental treatment that might give us more time? Sophia crossed the kitchen and wrapped her arms around me, her body shaking with sobs. I held her, stroking her hair, letting her grief flow when she finally pulled back. Her eyes were red but determined. What can I do? She asked. Just keep being you, I said. Keep playing your cello, keep getting annoyed when I ask about your homework. Don't treat me differently. She nodded, wiping her tears. Does Dad know? Yes. Is that why he took an overnight trip to Chicago? To get away from it? I stared at her, confused. Chicago he left this morning? Said he had a business emergency. She frowned. You didn't know? I checked my phone. No messages from Daniel, no mention of a trip. Later that night, after Sophia had gone to bed, I checked our joint credit card account online. There it was, a charge for a hotel in Chicago, and right after it, a charge at Diamond Gentlemen's Club. My husband was at a strip club while I was telling our daughter I was dying. That night, I made two decisions. First, I would call Ethan tomorrow about the clinical trial, and second, I would find someone trustworthy to be there for Sophia after I was gone, because it clearly wouldn't be her father. The morning of my first chemotherapy session, I awoke to find Daniel already dressed for work, packing an overnight bag. I asked, pushing myself up against the pillows, fighting the wave of nausea that had become my constant companion. Just one night in Milwaukee client meeting. He didn't meet my eyes. Listen, I know your treatment starts today, but this client is crucial. I've arranged for a car service to take you. Sophia can drive me. She has school. It's more important for her to be with me today than to dissect a frog. Daniel sighed dramatically. Fine, I'll be back tomorrow night. Don't forget to transfer money for the mortgage payment. After he left, I called the bank. The mortgage payment was due today, but when I logged into our account, I discovered we had less than $300 remaining. Our joint savings account where we've been storing money for Sophia's college fund, and more recently my treatment expenses was nearly empty, Mrs. Collins. According to our records, there have been several large withdrawals over the past 6 months, the bank representative explained. The most recent was for $15,000 3 days ago, the day after my diagnosis. Was it a check or a cash withdrawal? I asked, already knowing the answer. Cash withdrawal made in person by your husband. He presented proper identification. I thanked her and hung up, my mind racing. Daniel had taken the money we'd saved for my treatment. For what? More gambling, more strip clubs? I began searching our home office, opening drawers and filing cabinets. In Daniel's desk, I found a stack of past due notices for credit cards I didn't know existed, gambling receipts from online poker sites, and finally a letter from our mortgage company. The letter confirmed the refinancing of our home, our fully paid home that had been my inheritance from my parents, with Daniel as the sole borrower. He had mortgaged our house without my knowledge, taking out $300,000 in equity. My hands shook as I held the paper. In Massachusetts, both spouses typically needed to sign for a mortgage, unless I flipped to the second page and found my signature, or rather, a poor forgery of it on the line. The notary stamp was from a small town 2 hours away. Mom. Sophia stood in the doorway, car keys in hand. It's time to go. I quickly tucked the letter into my purse. I'm ready. At the cancer center, Ethan was waiting. After I'd called him about the clinical trial, he'd expedited my enrollment and coordinated with Dr. Wallace to integrate the experimental protocol with my standard treatment. You look like you've seen a ghost, he commented as a nurse prepared my eye. Just nervous about the treatment, I lied. Sophia sat beside me, thumbing through a magazine, but clearly not reading it. Ethan pulled up a chair beside her. Your mom tells me you play the cello? Sophia nodded. Since I was 8, I played violin in college. Badly, he smiled. Do you have any performances coming up at recital next week? Though Brennan measured the concerto? That's ambitious. For the first time that day, Sophia smiled. Just the first movement. I watched them talk, noting how Ethan drew her out of her shell, asking questions about her music, her school, her friends. He had a natural ease with her that Daniel had never managed to develop. I am going to get something from the cafeteria, Sophia said eventually. Want anything after she left? Ethan's expression grew serious. What's really going on, Tassish? And don't tell me it's just treatment anxiety. The concern in his eyes broke something in me. I pulled out the mortgage letter and handed it to him. My husband has been stealing from me. My voice caught. He mortgaged our house without my consent, emptied our savings account, and has been selling my pain medication. I think he forged my signature on this document. Ethan scanned the letter, his expression darkening. This is fraud, Hacius. It's criminal. I know, but if I report him, he'll go to jail. And despite everything, he's still Sophia's father. A father who's stealing money that could be used for your treatment, Ethan pointed out, money that should be going towards Sophia's future. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of it all. I don't have the energy to fight him legally right now. I need to focus on the treatment and on preparing Sophia for what's coming. You need to protect yourself and your daughter, Ethan insisted. At least speak with a lawyer. I will, I promised, but first I need to understand exactly what he's done. That evening, while Sophia was at orchestra practice, I continued my search of the house. In the back of Daniel's closet, I found a small fireproof safe I'd never seen before. It was locked, but the key was taped to its underside. Classic Daniel, creating security measures but making them easily circumventable. Inside were bundles of cash, several prepaid debit cards, and a notebook containing names, dates, and amounts. It was a ledger of his drug sales, detailed and meticulous. I photographed everything with my phone, then carefully returned it exactly as I'd found it. When Sophia returned home, she was unusually quiet. Everything okay? I asked as we prepared dinner together. Dad called, she said, chopping tomatoes with unnecessary force. He's not coming to my recital next week. Again, he said he has a conference in Vegas he can't miss. I bit back my immediate response that Las Vegas was an unlikely location for a real estate conference, and instead focused on my daughter's disappointment. I'll be there, I promised. And maybe we can invite someone else too. Dr. Reeves mentioned he played violin in college. Sophia brightened slightly. He was nice. Do you think he'd want to come? I think he'd be honored that night. I lay awake piecing together the puzzle of my husband's betrayal, the forged mortgage documents, the emptied accounts, the drug dealing, the lies about business trips that were actually gambling excursions. Daniel wasn't just selfish, he was dangerous. And I was running out of time to protect Sophia from the fallout of his actions 3 months into my treatment. I sat across from Elaine Barnes, a family law attorney recommended by a support group member. Her office was warm and inviting with none of the intimidating law library aesthetics I'd expected. So you want to divorce your husband, she summarized after I'd explained my situation. But you are concerned about custody of your daughter given your illness. Not just custody, I clarified. I need to ensure that when I am gone, Sophia doesn't end up with Daniel as her sole guardian. He's not fit to parent her. That's a challenging situation, Elaine admitted. Crassos, when one parent dies, the other automatically retains full custody, unless here is documented abuse or neglect. What constitutes documented neglect? She studied me carefully. Criminal behavior that endangers the child, substance abuse, abandonment, financial exploitation that directly impacts the child's welfare. I pulled out my phone phone and showed her the photos I'd taken of Daniel's drug ledger, the forged mortgage documents, and the empty savings account statements. He's stealing my medication and selling it. He forged my signature to mortgage our home. He emptied Sophia's college fund. I took a deep breath, and he's rarely home. Sophia has essentially been raising herself while I've been sick. Elaine reviewed the evidence, her expression grave. This is serious. To Zeist, have you reported any of this to the police? Not yet. I wanted legal advice first. She made some notes. Here is what we can do. First, we'll file for divorce on grounds of financial fraud and abandonment. We'll request full custody of Sophia with supervised visitation for Daniel. Simultaneously, we'll petition the court to appoint a guardian for Sophia in the event of your death, someone other than Daniel. You can request it, and with this evidence, a judge might grant it. The court's primary concern will be Sophia's best interests. She looked up from her notes. Do you have someone in mind? A family member, perhaps? My mind immediately went to my sister in California, but she had 3 young children of her own. My parents were gone. I'm still considering options, I admitted. Think about it carefully. The court will want to see that this person has an existing relationship with Sophia and can provide stability on the drive home. I mulled over potential guardians. Most of my close friends had younger children or demanding careers. Sophia needed someone who understood her, someone who could support her musical ambitions and help her through her grief. At a red light, my phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. Blood work looks great. The trial is working. Call me when you can, I smiled, realizing that Ethan had become a constant presence in our lives over the past months. He'd attended Sophia's recital as promised, taken us both to dinner afterward, and subsequently shown up at every treatment session with small gifts books for me. He'd even helped Sophia with her biology homework one evening when he'd stopped by to check on me after a particularly difficult treatment day when I arrived home. Sophia was practicing her cello in the living room. She stopped when she saw me. How did it go with the lawyer? I'd been honest with Sophia about my plans to divorce Daniel, though I'd spared her the details of his criminal activities. It went well. We have options. She nodded, then hesitated. Dad called, he said. He's moving in with his friend Ray next week. Returnly, there are some financial issues with the house. My stomach clenched. Did he explain what that means? Number just that he might need to crash here sometimes until things get sorted out. She made air quotes with her fingers. I told him that wasn't going to work for us. You did? She shrugged suddenly, looking older than her 16 years. You are sick, Mom? You need peace and quiet for your treatment? Not Dad and his drama. I sat beside her on the piano bench. When did you get so wise? When I realized I needed to step up. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Dr. Reeves, Tactic, he said. Your blood work looks good. The trial seems to be working, I confirmed. It's not a cure, but it's buying us time. He's nice, Dr. Reeves. She gave me a sidelong glance. And he likes you. He's my doctor, Sophia, not technically. He's the research director. Dr. Wallace is your actual oncologist. She smirked. I am just saying he comes to all your appointments, brings you books, asks about you when you are not around. When has he asked about me when I am not around? When he drove me home from orchestra last week while you were resting, he wanted to know all about you, what books you like, what music you listen to. I raised an eyebrow. And what did you tell him? That you are pretty cool for an old person, she teased, and that you used to sing in a band in college. Oh God, I groaned. Please tell me you didn't mention the pink hair phase. I might have shown him a picture Dramama had I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in months, traitor. The front door slammed open before Sophia could respond, and Daniel stumbled in, clearly intoxicated despite it being only 4 p.m. Well, isn't this cozy? He slurred, dropping his keys on the floor. The dying mother and the dedicated daughter. Sophia stiffened beside me. Go to your room, honey, I said quietly. No, stay, Sophia, Daniel countered. Let's have a family meeting. After all, we need to discuss what happens when your mother kicks the bucket. Dad, Sophia exclaimed, horrified. I stood placing myself between them. You are drunk, Daniel, go sleep it off? He laughed, a harsh sound with no humor in it. I am celebrating. I just put down a deposit on a sweet condo in Florida Ocean View. You'd love it, Sophia. We'll have a great time once your mom's gone. Aspia's face crumpled. You are disgusting. Hey, I am just being realistic. Cancer's a bitch. Ask your mom. He turned to me, swaying slightly. How's that experimental treatment going? The one your boyfriend is running. The one that's costing us a fortune. It's working, I said calmly. And it's covered by the trial? Daniel snorted. Keecher, it is. Just like our house is covered by your inheritance. Oh wait, that's gone now. He looked around dramatically. All gone. What do you mean, gone? Sophia asked, looking between us. Mom, what's he talking about? Daniel laughed again. Your dad made some unfortunate investments, had to leverage the house. But don't worry, princess. The life insurance will fix everything. The blood drained from my face. What life insurance? The policy I took out on you last year, $5 million, should cover the mortgage, the condo, and still leave plenty for Sophia's college. He winked at her. See, Dad thinks of everything. You're betting on Mom dying. It's not a bet when it's a sure thing, honey. Before I could stop her, Sophia grabbed her car keys from the counter. I can't be here with him, she said, voice breaking. I'll be at Jesse's. After she left, Daniel collapsed onto the couch. Eva Effigers, so dramatic. I stared at the man I'd married 18 years ago, trying to reconcile him with the cruel, calculating stranger before me. Get out, I said quietly. What, get out of my house now before I call the police and tell them about your little pharmaceutical business? He blinked suddenly, more alert. You wouldn't. I pulled out my phone, showing him the photos I'd taken of his ledger. Try me? For a moment, he looked genuinely frightened. Then his expression hardened. Fine. I'll go, but this isn't over, Tajas. That life insurance policy is ironclad and I am the beneficiary. After you stumbled out, I called Elaine. I need to file for divorce immediately, I told her, and I need a restraining order. That night, as I lay in bed unable to sleep, I made my decision about Sophia's future guardian. I reached for my phone and texted Ethan. Can we talk tomorrow? It's important. His response came immediately. Of course, anything you need. For the first time since my diagnosis, I allowed myself to imagine a future where Sophia would be okay even if I wasn't there to see it. The courthouse was busier than I'd expected for a Tuesday morning. Elaine guided me through security and to a small conference room where we would meet with Daniel and his attorney before the hearing. Remember, she cautioned, stay calm no matter what he says. The judge will be looking for the more stable parent. I nodded, clutching the folder containing copies of all the evidence against Daniel, the forged documents, the drug ledger, bank statements showing the empty accounts, and most damning of all, a recording from 2 nights ago when he'd shown up drunk at our house, ranting about the life insurance policy. Sophia had insisted on coming with me today but was waiting in the courthouse cafe with Ethan. After our talk last week, he had been supportive but cautious about the idea of becoming Sophia's guardian. It's a huge responsibility, Stagseed said. Not that I wouldn't be honored, but are you sure there isn't a family member who would be more appropriate? Sophia trusts you, I'd replied simply. And so do I. The conference room door opened and Daniel walked in with a slick-looking attorney attorney in an expensive suit. Daniel looked surprisingly put together, clean-shaven, wearing a conservative blue suit I'd never seen before. Maya, he nodded stiffly. The attorneys began discussing terms while Daniel and I sat in uncomfortable silence. After a few minutes, Daniel leaned toward me. You don't have to do this, he whispered. We can work it out. I didn't respond. Think about Sophia, he continued. Do you really want to put her through a messy divorce while you're sick? I'm thinking about Sophia, I replied evenly. That's why we're here. His attorney cleared his throat. Mrs. Collins, my client is prepared to offer a generous settlement. He'll assume all marital debts and provide substantial alimony during your remaining time. In exchange for what? Elaine asked sharply. Full custody of Sophia upon Mrs. Collins' death, and Mrs. Collins remaining as beneficiary on the life insurance policy. I laughed, unable to help myself. You can't be serious. Daniel's eyes narrowed. It's a fair offer. You stole from our daughter. You forged my signature. You've been dealing drugs out of our home. I shook my head. There is no universe in which you get custody of Sophia. You have no proof of any of that, his attorney interjected. Elaine smiled thinly. Excellent. We have extensive documentation. She opened her briefcase and removed a copy of the evidence folder. And this recording from Saturday night, she played a short clip of Daniel's drunken rant about the life insurance. His face paled as his own voice filled the room. The policy is ironclad and I am the beneficiary. Just a matter of time before I cash in. That's out of context, he sputtered. The full recording is worse, I assured him, as is the testimony from your business partner Ray, who's currently facing his own legal troubles and seems very willing to discuss your arrangement. This was a bluff. I hadn't actually spoken to Ray, but Daniel didn't know that, you bitch, he hissed. After everything I've done for you, Mr. Collins, his attorney warned, but Daniel was beyond listening. You think you were so clever with your fancy doctor boyfriend and your experimental treatment, but guess what? I spoke to another oncologist. That trial is a joke. It's not going to save you. I maintained eye contact, refusing to be baited. This isn't about my treatment. It's about Sophia's future. Sophia is my daughter too. And when you are gone, when I am gone, Sophia will live with her court-appointed guardian, I interrupted calmly. Not you. Daniel laughed an ugly sound. No judge is going to appoint a guardian when her father is alive and well. They will when her father is facing fraud charges, drug distribution charges, and has a documented gambling addiction. Elaine countered. The color drained from Daniel's face. His attorney leaned over to whisper something in his ear, but Daniel shoved him away. You can't do this to me, he said, voice breaking. Everything I did, the money, the mortgage, it was for us, for our future. No, Daniel, it was for you. It was for you. It was for you. It's always been for you. Before he could respond, the bailiff appeared at the door. In the courtroom, I spotted Sophia and Ethan sitting in the back row. Sophia gave me a small, encouraging smile. The proceedings moved quickly. The judge reviewed our documentation with a grim expression, asked a few clarifying questions, and then delivered her ruling. Given the evidence presented, I am granting the petition for divorce on grounds of financial fraud and abandonment. Mrs. Collins will retain full custody of the minor child, Sophia Collins. Mr. Collins is granted supervised visitation at the discretion of Mrs. Collins and the child. She turned a stern gaze to Daniel. Furthermore, I am issuing a restraining order prohibiting Mr. Collins from coming within 500 feet of Mrs. Collins or their residence. Daniel stood abruptly. Your Honor, this is outrageous. She's manipulating the court. She's dying, and she's trying to keep me from my own daughter. Mr. Collins, control yourself, the judge warned sharply. You don't understand, Daniel continued desperately. I made mistakes, but I am her father. Sophia needs me after Thais is gone. The judge's expression hardened. Mr. Collins, I suggest you sit down before I find you in contempt. Daniel sank back into his chair, face flushed with anger. Regarding the petition for appointment of a guardian in the event of Mrs. Collins' incapacity or death, the judge continued. I am taking this under advisement pending interviews with the proposed guardian and the minor child. We will schedule a separate hearing for this matter. As we left the courtroom, Daniel pushed past his attorney and blocked our path. This isn't over, he hissed at me. I'll fight you every step of the way. I'll fight you every step of the way. That insurance money is mine. Two court officers immediately moved toward us. Daniel backed away, holding up his hands. I am going, he muttered, shooting me one last venomous look before storming out. Sophia rushed over, wrapping her arms around me. Is it done? Is he gone? For now, I assured her, holding her tight. We got everything we asked for except the guardianship decision. That will come later. Ethan approached cautiously. Puddleless, he said. How are you feeling? Lighter, I admitted, like I can breathe again. As we walked out of the courthouse into the bright spring sunshine, I felt a strange sense of peace. The divorce wouldn't change my prognosis, but it had changed something fundamental about the time I had left. I was no longer a victim awaiting my fate. I was actively shaping the future, even the parts of it I wouldn't live to see. That evening, as Sophia and I were preparing dinner, the doorbell rang. I'll get it, Sophia offered, wiping her hands on a towel. I heard the door open, followed by Sophia's alarmed voice. Dad, you can't be here. Here's a restraining order. My heart raced as I hurried to the foyer. Daniel stood in the doorway, swaying slightly, his eyes bloodshot. Just need to talk to your mom, he slurred. 5 minutes, you need to leave, I said firmly, pulling Sophia behind me. Now. The insurance company called, he said, ignoring my warning. They're investigating the policy, said something about potential fraud. Did you call them? I didn't, but I am glad someone did, his face contorted with rage. You've ruined everything. I had plans for that money. It was never your money to plan for, I replied evenly. Now leave before I call the police. You think you've won, he laughed bitterly. You haven't. You are still dying, Tassis, and when you are gone one way or another, Sophia will be with me. Sophia stepped forward, her voice stronger than I'd ever heard it. No, I won't. I will never live with you. Not after what you've done. Something in Daniel's expression shifted, a dangerous gleam entering his eyes. We'll see about that. He reached into his jacket pocket, and for one terrifying moment I thought he might have a weapon. Instead, he pulled out a folded document. Medical power of attorney, he announced, waving it in front of me. Sigid by you last year, remember? It gives me the right to make all your medical decisions when you are incapacitated. Assigned when to terminate treatment. My blood ran cold. I did remember signing a power of attorney, but it had been for financial matters related to the house, or so I'd thought. Let me see that, I demanded. He held it just out of reach. The experimental trial, the pain management, all those expensive treatments keeping you alive a little longer. I can end them. All it takes is one phone call, say I.